Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I was humiliated. I was corrected in the comments, and shout out to the person that actually came with this really good comment. Last week I showed you a video where we used the convert value, the object mapper, the Jackson object mapper, and then we converted a value. And the situation was, if you don't remember it, let me just go through it just quickly. That we had some Json right here. Very important data right here, which was designed a bit clumsy. So we had it as a map right here, and then we had the keys were actually the person's name right here, and then we had all the data nested underneath it. And the solution that I demonstrated last time was to use convert value. So first we loaded this as a generic map. And then after that, then we converted the key. Then we got the key out, and then we converted that into the person right here that matches the fields that you just saw before. We have the age, height, and weight. And of course, then I got a good comment, and thank you very much for that. And the comment was that, Mike, why didn't you just use the type reference? And you're totally right. I could have used that in that example right here. I should have create a more complex example. I just wanted to demonstrate the convert value because it is still very, very useful. And you can also, if you have two persons that are almost the same with almost the same fields, then you can convert it. Then you can make a conversion between the two person classes with the convert value. But I'm going to show that. But first, let me just show the type reference approach. Again, we are loading the data right here, so we are loading the important data JSON file, and we're doing that by using the class loader and then get resource as stream. So we take this class right here, and then we say get class loader, get resource as stream, and then we have the stream, and then we can actually ask the object mapper, the Jackson object mapper, which is really, really awesome and useful. Right here, we can ask that, please read the value from the resource stream and then convert it into a map with generic types on. And the way to do that is by using the type reference. It's an interface, so we have to actually create the content of it. We can just make a blank the blank content right here, so there's actually no content right here. Sorry, it's actually an abstract class. So again, let me just check right here. So we have an abstract class right here, which is the type reference. And in order to instantiate it and create a new type like this, so we can use the generic map string person right here, is to just create just create an anonymous version of it right here. So it's quite easy and quite cool to use, and it's that is the approach if you want to use generics inside the map as we have right here. So here we have string, and then we have person right here, and it matches the structure that we just had 1 minute ago right here in the important data. So it matches this data right here. So we have a string, which is the name, and then we have the person inside right here. And does it work, Mike? Yes, of course it does. I have a cool test right here that shows that it works. I've created a Spring Boot test. I'm auto-wiring in the important data service with type reference. It's an awesome name. It's a really good name. So let me just shorten it a bit. Important data. Like this. Would be important data service or something like that. But now that is the name. And then we have a test right here, which is load person. And let us make it public. So when we run the Maven test, then it will. We don't need that, but I don't know actually. But it's just so Maven actually runs the test also. We need to be public either on class or method. I think it's a method level actually. But that is another story. So here we have the person Mike, and I'm loading the person. I add the key Mike right here, and what happens then? Then we go through all of this code right here, and we convert the JSON file to a map, and then we just use get. Of course we could also use get or default. It's always nice to actually use get or default, and then if it's not there, then we could actually create a new. We could have it like a dummy person or something like that, right? That could be the situation. Let me just go to person right here. So we have it as a data. We could have all args constructor. We could have no args constructor also added on it. No args constructor like this. And then we can say new person, and then we can say nn, and then -1, some height, blah blah blah, 0, and then we could have the weight also right here. And of course, I know that right now the height and weight are strings, and of course those should be of course it should be a decimal number, but that doesn't matter, just to show the just to show you the principles right here. So what happens is that it will actually be converted into a generic map with this line right here, and then we are using the get or default, which will ensure that we will not get any null values, and then we will not have a null pointer exception because we don't like those, and then we have a more robust application. Let us try to run this right here and see if it works. Yes, very exciting, very exciting. Let's see. Yes, the test is green. And I have these assert J assertions right here. Assert that Mike is not null. Assert that Mike get age is equal to 47. So that's quite cool. And of course, we can also try, now that we have we have added the default person, then we can also say the default person, defaults like this. Oh, that's not a good name. So then we say nn. It's a reserved word, of course. So then we say something that does not exist. And then we assert that nn still it should not be null, and then we say nn should be equal to 0. So it should be, what was it, -1 actually? I've just forgot. So let me just run again. And of course, if you don't want to rerun you can just press Control F5, or you can press Shift F10 also. That is also a way to rerun the test. Okay, so we are still green, so that means that we're happy. Our principles and the things that we think is right is actually correct. So that is that's quite awesome. So, Mike, does this mean that we cannot use convert value at all? You actually said that it was very useful. Could you try to show us a more useful example and build on the example that we had before? Yes, very good question. Thank you very much for that. Let us say that we have another type of person. So we have another person right here. Again, this class, it looks a lot like the first person. It just doesn't have the name, so it has the age, height, and weight. And maybe it does not have the weight. So let us just say that we just want the height and the age. And what can we then do? Then we can actually, then we could actually create a third type right here. So let me just actually let us use this. Let us use this service right here. So now we're going to create a new method right here, which will return another person, load another person. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the load person and a name. So that means that now we have a person, and now we want to convert this to another person. And of course, we could create a cool builder method or a constructor or something like that, or a utility class that actually creates a person from another person. But it's quite easy with the object mapper. Then we can say object mapper dot convert value, and then we say from person to another person like this. And then we should get another person, and then we just return the other person. Of course, now we're going to create a test for this, or we're just going to add it to our existing test, and then we press Alt insert, then we go say tests, and it says, okay, you already have a test. So just check off the existing test, and then we'll get this new method right here. That was Alt insert and then test. That's what helped us right there. So now we will say import and data, and then we say load another person like this, and then we will say let us use another name just for fun. It was a Susan, I think. We had a Susan. Another person, and then we do some assertions. I'm a bit lazy, so I just copy from up here. Another person is not null, and the age should be, actually I forgot what the age is. That's okay, then we should get a test failure to begin with. It could also be that we get another error. Let's see what happened now. The age is 29. That's because Susan's name was actually 29. So let us just go to the important data, which was right here. Just to check, age 29 and height 178. Maybe the other person actually has the correct types. Let's say it has an integer height instead. Of course, it should be a decimal, but now it's at least a number. Maybe we'll get there one day. So let me say another person. Let me say get height, and then we say 178. Let us see what we can see. Let's see what the test says. Yes, a green test right here. So it works. The convert value is still very useful. But of course, type reference in the situation that we have right here could actually handle the important data, and that would be the correct solution, of course, in this situation right here. I should have created a more complex situation, so it would not be possible to use type reference for the previous video. I'm very happy that you called it out. So I should have created some complex structure right here, and then we could have had all of this content right here. Some complex structure right here. Maybe we could also have had something else like car1. Let's say that we of course, I know this is totally rubbish data structure, but you see a very bad data structure sometimes, especially if it's someone that is new to Json who made his or her first application. And of course, it would the data structure would not be as you would expect it to be. So I'm not going to do this, but I should have made the example a bit more complex to use the convert value in the last video. Thank you very much for all of your comments, and have a great evening, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.